chanters and altar boys. That'd be no word for that.
I would put pastoral leadership.
I think we're maybe good at integrating children into our ministries. I think we do good youth work, youth programs.
Okay.
Keeping in mind,
Youth programs, or
yeah, just keeping in mind that we only have so many resources and bodies, and we are limited in how many services we can do, let's say, and how many youth things we can do.
right. Other strengths.
Communication.
We said that. Communication's really valuable. That's great.
How do we do that well?
Well, through the newsletters, through just constant communication. WhatsApp. The women's group has a WhatsApp that we all share.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then it's working.
They talk about the men.
Well, the men don't have that quite.
We have Signal. We just don't use it very often.
Yeah, we have to use it.
But like the vision retreat, that was almost every Sunday we were bringing it up so that everyone was involved.
Yeah, Chris, thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, Chris really kept on that.
I would say father's emails and instructions and updates from the Archdiocese help. I look forward to those because I usually get them while I'm at work, and it helps me make it through the day.
What do you use for the monthly? You use Monkey, Chip, you use Constant Contact, or one of those?
Just an email.
AOL.
You don't have to bring that up.
That'll be a weakness.
I don't think that's what you meant. Right?
No.
Yeah, it's just a parish email list.
He uses email, but Michelle uses MailChimp, I think, right? Yeah. So we do have like a.
Yeah, MailChimp is, we ran into all sorts of problems with just regular email lists because, people, they weren't showing up and being rejected. So the MailChimp is really simple and easy. And
does it cost? Is there a cost?
no,
No,
it's free.
I think both the fathers and subdeacon have been very accessible. So when you need advice or input, they get back to you. It's a priority. So
Clergy is accessible. Other strengths.
It's just starting, but I would say that, and I haven't been able to go because it's like in the middle of the day for me, but the outreach for the kitchen that's happening, it's hard for me to get there because of the timing of it, but I think that makes a strong statement in the community.
Great. What about your chant, your choir?
Yes, very good strength.
Music. you
She
don't.
doesn't know voodoo. She doesn't know voodoo yet.
Some of these things can be like strength and weakness because I think you do it really well, but you carry like.
All right, put it out there. It is.
She's gone, it's horrible.
We need more, right?
She carries the
No, you don't think so?
No, yeah.
I don't want to run.
No. I think both.
Okay.
The parish president.
Well, yeah, because we need more chanters.
But that means
We
more
are
people coming to services and being faithful.
kind of lacking perhaps in many people who sing, not having a lot of people that sing.
Other strengths?
I was gonna say united, because we don't have, some of the other churches I've been at, we've kind of got the converts versus the traditional.
It's kind of cliquish.
Yeah, very cliquish.
When I first got,
I was thinking more along the lines of this.
when I first got to St. George in Eugene, at fellowship, you had a Greek table, you had a Russian table, you had a Romanian table at fellowship. So we rearranged all the tables and chairs and stuff.
Confused everybody.
Made it like a family dinner at a Chinese restaurant. No, two long tables, right? You had to face each other. Tables all together, and yeah.
And no one talks.
Yes.
Our relationship with our priest too, like I remember going on a trip with Father Michael. We took somebody that was a Roman Catholic, and just our relationship, we were talking the whole time. He was blown away how how much we were together and like talking. Like it was just that was one thing he loved the most.
Yeah.
It was just how our relationship together. And then my wife was there too, so it was with her. That was another example of the relationship with our priests. And it's I hope it's everywhere in Orthodoxy, but it's definitely here.
How would you capture that?
Knowledge.
Well, they got pastoral leadership, but it's also just pastoral.
Yeah, I mean, it also kind of fits in accessibility, right? Like,
Yeah.
to actually have a relationship.
Other strengths.
I would say our demographic, I don't know a better word than that, but it's like the balance of age and
Diversity. Diversity and unity, right?
And also, the number of years that each of us has had our faith, our faith, right? From cradle to grand. I think the balance is really a strength.
Diversity and balance. Okay. Other strengths.
I would say that, and maybe we've already talked about this a little bit, but kind of going to Joel's point where the seeing other people's reverence or transformation or healing is probably a better word, is really inspiring. And I would say, Subdeacon Timothy, one day when my wife we were first coming and she was not really digging the Orthodoxy at all. And during one of the great entrances, Subdeacon Timothy had an icon, and he carried it as if it were the most precious thing in the world. And she went home and she said, "That's what I want." So, and this happens all the time. I mean, this happens like every service where someone will be reverent and really embodying the life, and it moves you to want to do your own life deeper. And I will say one other story, but during Forgiveness Sunday, Jen Galt was standing next to me, and when her children came up to her, she did a full prostration and kissed their feet. And I was blown away, absolutely blown away. And I was like, I need to do that too. So when my children came up, I knelt down and kissed their feet, asking for their forgiveness. So there's this power of that healing that happens in your life. You see it, and sometimes I think we take that for granted, but it is a real strength because it happens a lot. So I don't know how you put that.
Like
It's inspirational.
or a powerful witness.
And it's authentic, right? I mean, you're really trying to
Authenticity,
How about piety?
piety. Humility. You mentioned humility at the beginning.
Really, the patriarchs here, original people here are great examples.
Hierarchy.
No, he's talking about founders.
Oh,
founders.
Founder. Great. All right. More? Yes.
Well, I'm glad that our church is kind of small, and I know that goes against what we're trying to we went to Post Falls for Father Michael's ordination. At first it was really exciting. There were more moms and more kids and everything, but as the day went on, I just got totally overwhelmed. So I like that there's an intimacy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Always something you have to keep in mind as you grow.
I think maybe with that, one thing I always think about just like relating with my family that's non-Orthodox, Sarah and I often have this conversation, like, we feel so connected to everybody here in the church, more so than even our blood relatives.
Strong connection.
Agreed.
Yeah, I go back to what Molly was just saying, but the beauty of the Orthodox Church is that we're both and. We can be small here, but we're also part of a larger organization where we can go and worship here every Sunday, and then when whatever life happenstance takes us and we're out of town, we can find another Orthodox church and step right in and know what to do and when. And as long as we communicate with the priest in advance, we can even take communion. But I think that's the strength of the Orthodox Church. But the strength of three hierarchs is it's small but mighty, but we have the opportunity to have a larger network that supports us as well.
I think instead of organization, say community or family, because I feel like church is an organization, it's like, or a corporation, you know.
Now, I've spent 40 years in corporate America, so that's hard. I'm just thinking that's my failure again. But I think, it's about the community.
That is a strength, having that this understanding that we are created for communion, right? Individualism is not really an Orthodox concept, right? You know, like the Holy Trinity, it's a community of persons. Our corporateness, our prayer is corporate, right? Not only personal but corporate. So that corporateness, I think, is a strength. Is a strength. Yes.
Just to share something about that, anytime I've traveled anywhere and I've gone to a different Orthodox church, they're always welcoming. And when I say I'm an Orthodox Christian, I can take communion there. And I just know, even if it's in a different language, I still know where I am in that spot. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
I think also the respect for tradition. I don't know if it's mentioned in a strength, but
it should be, yeah.
You know, so I think it's one of the strengths that is important. There is a long, tendency to change things and to modernize things.
Yeah.
I think we respect and try to learn from our saints and our contemporary saints.
Yes. How many Orthodox does it take to change a light bulb? Change? You guys are doing great. Should we move on to weaknesses?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, we got to be brutally honest here. So. And it's not personal, right? It's corporate.
I think we need more discussions like this, to open up the energies, the experiences, the dialogue, because I think from this is coming a lot of good things, and growth.
Great. You first, and then.
So I don't. Once again, any rotten fruit apple can be thrown afterwards. I don't want to cause a problem in here, but I think part of the elephant in the room is we just don't have enough people to do stuff.
Yeah.
And I think coming from where I'm at, even from a business outside, ever since COVID, there's just not enough people to do stuff. Everybody's stretched to the limit, and when I'm working 60 hours a week and going to church services, and then I haven't mown my lawn for 3 weeks, I coming in and then having someone to, pull weeds, I'm like, my goodness, how do I balance my family and the church and work and all these things? And it just seems like there's a small handful of people that do almost everything for the church, and I'm not one of those. I don't do hardly anything for the church, and I feel terrible all the time when I walk by and see weeds, and I feel like I should pull weeds or shovel or fill a hole or something, but I'm just like, at what point am I out in the parking lot during the liturgy doing this stuff and not in the liturgy?
Well, I think Father Michael will come and get you.
So I just feel like we need more people to do more stuff.
Sort of the 80-20 rule, like 80% of the work is being done by 20% of the people.
Yeah.
When you need 100% of the work being done by 100%.
I'd say a lack of redundancy to kind of lay that out as a part of that, is that there's a lot of things that certain people do, and I think that if we maybe explain what those were and open that up and train people, then that would lessen the load. And so I just think that we have a lack of redundancy in a lot of things that put maybe undue stress on a handful of people.
No, lack of redundancy, redundancy.
I was going to say that knowledge, because we don't know, some people don't know what needs to be done, and redundancy.
I think it's great too, I don't know how long ago this was, Chris, but maybe a year ago, you just sent out this note and said, hey, look, I want to start cleaning out the basement. I didn't even know we had a basement. and then when I opened that door, I'm going, no wonder this door is always locked. But then the knowledge of is that I felt immediately engaged in that group of people. And I'm not trying to put Chris on the spot or anybody else here, but the thing that was a bummer is that he sent this note out, and every man in the church got this, and it was only like 3 of us that showed up. And he cooked this great breakfast, and some other guys showed up, and I get it, everybody has stuff going on, and I'm the guy that was saying, yeah, there's somebody else that's going to do that because I got stuff to do. So I'm part of that, but I'm so glad that he sent that and that I went and that I, inhaled antivirus and everything else.
So is there a mentality here that someone else will do the job?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine is really similar. Right before COVID, we had a lot of burgeoning ministries. People were really engaged. We had Sunday school. We had lots of things going on. And then COVID hit. We were all sent to our homes, and everything just kind of died away. We haven't been able to get that traction yet.
So still recovering from COVID.
Yeah, and I think there's enough new people that they didn't know what the excitement of our parish was.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just need to figure out how to get that out again.
Yeah, good.
I think tying into you asked us, you said there are 3 types of parishes, and
right.
Michael and I spoke about this. I think my personal opinion is that we're by choice very much a pop-up parish. I think we expect Father to do everything, and we have a tendency to, at least in my experience, we have a tendency to not step up unless Father initiates it. I think we put too much of a burden on our clergy, and we need to learn how to start to step up and do things, which I think ties in with a lot of work.
So Danny Parish is a weakness, and also you mentioned last night, sort of like a chapel parish, that you're transitioning from that. So put those together.
And I think it goes into I don't think a lot of us are even aware what it takes on a week-to-week basis to operationally even run the parish and all the tasks. I don't think we even have that documented. And I think if we did, it would probably blow a lot of people's minds to understand what it takes to do that. And the people that might do that, or anyone that's ever ran a business, to know all it would actually takes to be in business. There's a lot of this stuff that isn't documented. You know it if you do it.
Yeah. So there's an interesting thing that I think that is playing into this, is that within Orthodoxy and within the things we have, ordained clergy, minor clergy, whatever, and there are defined roles, but I don't know that everybody knows what anybody can do. Like, if there's not necessarily it's not always clear, can I do that? Or can I not? Or is that something a deacon would do, or is that something that we need the priest to do? That there needs to be some sort of definition in the rules, while at the same time using that to open it up and empower everybody else to do the other things.
And to know what our capabilities, like I don't even know what everyone else could even do. So that's the thing, and just as I don't want to pick on anybody, but we have people that aren't even in the parish directory yet. That, you know, and so, yeah, I think there's just we're working on it.
Have you ever collected talents, like people's talents, like have them?
Informally, but I might not be aware of it, but informally you learn by interacting with everyone, but I bet you there's a lot of stuff we don't even know.
Yeah.
Lack of knowledge.
We were going to do that, and then COVID hit, so it was.
Yes.
I was gonna say, one of the things I think for me that kind of came as a weakness for also being very new to the parish, is that, like, for example, I didn't even know there was a women's group until a little bit ago, and this something. So just even that communication and as we talk about bringing people into the church and expanding and growing, but we're not even communicating with those that are coming of what we have and you know, it could easily be a way of creating new people getting involved and stuff like that. Because I would totally do women's group, I totally do different things, but if I don't know what they are and I don't even know who to ask, like that becomes you still have your 10% that do the majority of everything.
So, Father Michael, so you have a parish council?
Yeah.
How many on the parish council?
What do we have? 5?
No.
6. 6.
Gotta be an even number. Anyway, okay.
We all agree, so.
2-year term?
3.
4. Yeah,
3-year term.
And then, so every 3 years you.
2 3-year.
They
terms.
can.
You can do 2 3-year terms, but then you have to rotate.
Okay.
I think more projects that bring us together, like the civic community organize the feasts, you know, in Georgian style. I don't know exactly the name.
Super.
Yeah, and also the movie night that have on, especially on a long winter that we have here, you know, and it's easier to organize, just to bring us together to, you know, again, I think we know each other more when we're having in a informal, you know, but also within the church, you know.
So more social events? So
social events,
meaningful
social events, you know.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And I think in this category also going to visit more each other and to gather to our homes and to have that time together.
More time together outside of church.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Just kind of talking to different people in the community, one of the things that came back to me was their perception of Orthodoxy. There's really nothing for women to do leadership-wise. And I mean, that was a pretty strong perception. And I don't know if there's any way to, I mean, we've obviously got women that lead, Molly and such, pretty key roles, but that's kind of the perception out there. This is a patriarchal church, and we're hearing a lot of men are coming, young men are coming to the church. We're not, I guess, I don't know, it doesn't seem like we're seeing a lot of young ladies, but.
So this is something that I think touches on a lot of what we're talking about here. And it's just an organic process of mentorship that isn't very natural. Like, it doesn't just kind of happen organically, I guess. But so I think we have to be committed to developing our leadership and communicating the opportunities. So that therein lies that issue of awareness with our ministries and then, you know, however that happens, if we're posting these opportunities or what's available for people to be involved with in the fellowship hall or, you know, e-boards or emails or whatever, that's all part of it. But the mentorship thing, I've seen this like really, really help us when we are focused on creating that next, you know, I was really focused on getting somebody to lead the parish council because I was coming up to the end of my term. And so it was like, we had this mentorship process was, and we got the best parish council chairman so far. In our current one.
So undeveloped leadership is a weakness. Pretty common.
No offense, no.
Pretty common. Before I forget, Freddie mentioned facilities last night as a weakness.
Yeah, I would say, landscaping is aesthetic for us when we pull up. You pull into that parking lot and you hit that pot hole right there and it slams on, and it's, what's that?
Yes.
Well, we lost a lot of families, and with that went a lot of mentorship. And just like for women, especially new moms, I'm still pretty new to Orthodoxy.
Yeah.
Still pretty new in parish in 3 years. Though I didn't get because I wasn't here, it was elsewhere. But we just lost those experienced moms who are very solidly Orthodox and know what they're doing, and have the time to talk, like through even informal ways, but also and then not having the strong women's group gatherings. And we tried for a while, I just struggled.
Yeah.
So I think for the moms, young moms, it's really hard.
Goldendale.
Yeah, just right.
I think like
so it's Wenatchee sort of a transitional place, right? It's the same thing in Eugene. Of course, when people leave your small parish, it's more. So
we lost 24 people, and well, more than that. But when it came to those families, we lost 16 children and 8 adults in a period of 2 years, and they were very poor.
They were our chanters, Sunday school teachers.
But if I just one thing going back to what was being said, some of it comes back to knowing who knows what. I mean, it's like my wife. If she heard that, she would be like, "Whoa, I have 7 children and 4 grandchildren. I would love to just connect with you and see." But we don't necessarily know who knows what and what their life experience is. And I think that, just stepping out of just communicating that and having more interaction socially where you find out, wow, wait a minute, you had a son that, had a lot of major problems in their life. That resonated with me, and maybe that's not just out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is just the general, economic situation in our area be a weakness? Because that's why we lost a lot of families. Is it's just expensive to have a home and live here.
So that's gonna be a threat.
That is
because it's
another word.
Because it's external.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
The incomes don't keep up with the housing.
That's 100%.
Yeah. Going back to the facility thing, maybe we're like 85% full on a Sunday, but that's maybe on a Sunday and not on a Wednesday.
Yes.
Or a Saturday.
Yes.
Or anything like that.
Okay, let's just say it.
Participation.
Sometimes we don't have good attendance outside of Sunday.
And maybe not.
I think probably we do better than many Orthodox churches, so I don't want to be derogatory. Specifically, feast day services, great feasts. And our patronal feast day, every year I look out there and we have about as many parishioners as we have guests, which is, I don't know, maybe it was 25 of each.
We have more, I think, more guests than
More guests.
Yeah,
more
well,
guests.
and I'm sure I haven't done a good job communicating the importance of the patronal feast day, and maybe I don't know how to.
You celebrate it during the day or the evening before?
Well, both. We did a vigil in the evening before, and then we did a liturgy in the morning. And I know people work and stuff, you know. So,
Some parishes, like St. John's in Beaverton, just because of this, just did mostly the evening liturgies.
I think there's some good, I mean, just coming from my church, my first Orthodox church, outside the feast days, there was only 2 services ever. Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings, that's it. We didn't have Saturday nights, there was no weekday liturgies ever. So there's some, and I mean, I think we're doing a lot better than many other, particularly Antiochian churches that I've been involved in. But I agree with Father, as I should.
He's scoring
that
points.
we have it works, folks. If you come to these services, it works. And even though it seems like it's an inconvenience, it works. When you're here, it does something. And it's not just for you, it's for everybody else that's there.
And you never regret coming to a service, like an off service or midweek. You always feel better.
Other things you don't do well. Oh my goodness.
I think I don't know if it's a weekend or something, but I feel we can do better to commemorate the departed one and to feel like we're together. I think we are, and of course we don't have a lot of history, we're a lot of converts, but I think commemoration of the departed is something that I miss a lot because I come from the Romanian Orthodox Church and it's very, very emphasized. Yeah. And I feel like this is something that we need to be together to feel like departed and the one that are just still fighting this life, we're one. And I know in Yakima, of course it's a bigger church, but they do every month or every week, or I don't know, every month I think they do a commemoration for the departed one. And I think that's unite us in a bigger family, eternal family.
Because we are who we were, right?
I think that I do a very poor job, at this point at least, at emphasizing memorial.
It sounds like a goal.
Sometimes this is a stupid excuse, but sometimes it's because my voice is weak, I just, I'm lazy, or I don't think I can do it. But we could have much more emphasis on that.
We have an opportunity to do, what do you call it? Koliva? So if we had Koliva every Sunday, people would be looking forward to it.
All right. Who's your best Koliva maker?
I don't know.
We're going to keep overlooking the same people.
President and I were in Las Vegas visiting our Combado, who's the priest there, Father John Andres, and it happened to be on the Saturday of the Souls. And it's a big parish, and every woman seen made her version of Koliva. And so you had to taste everyone's. Is mine the best? No, is mine the best? Is mine the best? So we call them the Koliva Wars. Yes.
I offer my services to help around clean the church, anything my hand for work.
Great. Weakness.
So I would say a weakness for us. We're very welcoming when people come in, but we're a little bit insular. Outreach is a weakness for us. I mean, Father Michael is amazing at outreach, but I think as a parish, we're not very good at reaching our community. I think most of us here, almost everybody here is a convert. Almost. I came in because I ran into Father Michael at the post office.
Oh, good. I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Not an accident.
I may have done that too, but it was a hit and run case. But I met Father Michael at the post office, and I said, "Oh, that's an Orthodox priest. I was Roman Catholic at the time. And I said, I need to go talk to him because I want to know what separates our churches. And so I struck up the conversation, and within 5 minutes, he's in the parking lot talking with my wife and my kids, and he's inviting us to come and visit. And he brings us here, and he gave us a tour. And then periodically over the course of the next year or so, I would get a phone call or a text message from Father Michael, just checking in to see how we're doing. And then COVID hit, and I was very active as a Roman Catholic. I knew a lot of priests. During COVID, the only priest that ever reached out to me to check in and see how I was doing was Father Michael.
Wow.
And that had a huge impact on my family. That brought us in. And I think that's the kind of outreach that maybe the rest of us should be striving toward, is to really engage with people outside of the faith. I try. I'm not very good, but I think most of us here didn't come in because somebody invited us, unless it was Father Michael. I think most of us came in here because we found some resource online or we were driving by. So I think outreach is something we could really, we talk about parish growth, and I think that is the key. One of the key elements of parish growth is we have to reach out to our community.
We had a beautiful concert regarding the liturgy and Lutheran Church a couple of years ago. I don't know if something like that can be replicated.
Oh, with the music?
With the music, and we recorded kind of, but that was a beautiful, and probably most of you don't remember, may not, but it was really beautiful and something that I think...
Hold that thought.
All the other
Hold that thought, because right now we're just trying to take a picture of... Molly, did you have something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's interesting because my experience was I was invited by Amy Shattuck, Tim was invited by Michael John, so our experience is not finding resources. It was somebody said, come and see, and we saw. And so I don't know if it's just split down the middle, but in terms of our church, but.
My nephew invited me, and I think he's invited probably at least, as far as I know, 10 other people, especially young people, to our church.
Yeah, and I think about half the catechumenes, Constantine's invited, so.
I have one more that I want to say. When we were first coming into the church with Father Timothy, one thing this is, I think, a strength of his, and it takes time, and I know time and effort, and it's like a priestly thing, but there's not, unless we go to the catechism stuff, but that's maybe more like basic stuff, there's not a lot of continued education and learning, and that just really fed my soul when we did that with Father Timothy, so I think
Discipleship.
more of that,
Discipleship would be a weakness?
I think adult education.
Yeah.
I used to do a Thursday evening Zoom educational or book study. And I don't know, it fell by the ways. I think probably it was when Great Lent was coming last year. And Great Lent is coming this year. So we do services the first week of Lent every evening. And then usually 3 Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
So would we be able to do Thursday evening, education? I worry about, overwhelming people or competing with the services. So that's something I would need to hear from the congregation.
Yes.
But we do need it.
Yes.
One that has to be more than just you and Father Michael that can do that, because you're 2 people. You have to do the services. And
my father.
Sorry.
I was going to mention that we have youth programs on our strengths, but that's basically our 13 and up youth. So all of our younger kids, we don't have Sunday school anymore. So we're relying upon their very fallible parents to bring them up in the faith.
I was going to say, my father, he's going through catechism, and I do inside kind of envy him because I really appreciate it, catechism, and I can just see that conviction kind of growing in him, and I just remember that feeling, so I just kind of am like, oh, that's awesome.
Let's put this around. What opportunities, right? All right, so let's talk about opportunities. These are external factors that may help us, help you. They could be socio-cultural, macroeconomic, technology, environmental, legal. These are external factors outside of ourselves. Like, for instance, Wenatchee is growing, is it? Population-wise?
Yes.
So that's an opportunity, right? What other opportunities exist? You know the Wenatchee Valley. What are some of the external factors that may help?
Cultural's changing, like America's culture is changing a lot.
Yeah, is Wenatchee conservative, more liberal?
It depends on which side of the river we're talking about. It generally, the growth, there might be something changing that we have that's not in the data yet. So there is we're going through a very.
We can listen.
But I would just say is that not good or bad, but there is some change going on. Not quite sure.
So we maybe need to put it as a thread as well.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Yes.
There's a lot of movement in the Protestant church. People get dissatisfied with where they're at, and they want to move to a different church.
We have lots of churches.
We're here.
Too. Protestantism. A lot of Protestant churches.
So people are fleeing.
We're not from the church entirely.
I think there's sort of and this is going to be kind of out there, but I think that there's sort of a collapse of the modernist idea, and people are seeing that the materialism and the positivism of that really isn't answering the questions.
So
I think there's a whole overall cultural movement.
Collapse of the modernist movement. Wow. That's pretty deep. Thank you.
I'm not very deep, but
you are.
This is a big podcast.
Yes.
So, I think a great opportunity right now is post-COVID, people are now wanting to know more about the unseen world, the spiritual world, that they're embracing the fact that not everything is captured by something that can be quantified or put in a spreadsheet. They love the answer, well, it's a mystery. And they want to explore that mystery, but also knowing that it may never be able to really understand it. But I think the opportunity is, at least from an Orthodox standpoint, people are willing to believe that miracles can happen. People are now more willing and more open to the miraculous and the unseen. I think that's becoming more and more evident.
By the way, I want to mention that I use Father Michael's book, Know the Faith, in my catechism.
To piggyback off of the COVID, I think that there was a lot of fear in the world and for sure in our community. And that's a catalyst for wanting truth.
Seeking truth. People seeking truth. Yes.
Oh. I don't want to capitalize on people's mental health, but there is an epidemic of loneliness happening.
Absolutely.
Being that space for people is important.
People want connection.
That's an opportunity.
People want connection.
And stability.
And stability.
And a lot of modern churches are always changing everything. All the time.
Right. Other opportunities.
Well, a lot of people come because they're watching educational things on YouTube.
Yeah. Many more online resources about Orthodoxy. That's definitely an opportunity.
And just touching on that too, I think the work Jonathan Joe is doing with symbolism, people want to seek meaning, that there's more meaning out there, because with COVID and the loneliness that it's isolating, and they want to know that something is happening for a purpose in their life.
I don't know if I just got Roger's new book, Living in Wonder, which really talks about this.
I'm not sure how we can capitalize is the wrong word probably, but we have a very large Hispanic community here in the valley. I think last time I checked, it's more than 20% of our population, and I think it's a community within our community that we could access. I don't know how we do it. I mean, I don't think we have many Spanish speakers within the parish, but I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, I teach at there's a Catholic homeschool co-op, and a lot of the kids there are from Hispanic families, and a lot of them are not necessarily unchurched, but they're finding dissatisfaction where they're at, and they're looking for more. And I'm not always sure how can we attract those people as well.
Embrace it, and bring.
There is the Divine Liturgy in Spanish that's easily available. How's your public education system in this area?
Fail.
Is that an opportunity?
The guy who designed the prisons also designed the school.
Well, that's why they look like prisons, right?
I'm on the local school board, so the education system, because it's public education and how it's set up, it's basically set up to fail. And so
what's the opportunity? So
I think
more public education.
I think the opportunity is that they keep lowering the standards, and it just keeps getting the exact same result which you would see. So the opportunity is that parents are looking for alternative options, because it's a no-win situation.
Yeah, and I could say,
and I just say, and we're starting to see a rapid decline recently, because now some of the parents seem to be throwing in the towel and just not even being vocal or resisting the decline. So there's not a lot of resistance for everyone to kind of just adapt to a lower and lower standard and accept that as okay. So I don't know how to blunt that. It's a very difficult problem.
Opportunity could be homeschool support or private school support. Through Orthodox.
Like I said, working with a homeschool co-op, I can say over the last 2 years, 3 years, my kids have been going there, is that they've gone from 15 students to, I believe we're now at 45. And it's not advertised, but people are really looking for something more for their kids. They want a better education, a traditional education.
Yeah.
And something where they're not being, indoctrinated into the woke movement.
Yeah, we have a homeschool co-op ministry at our parish. It's growing like you're seeing the growth. And St. Innocent said the future of Orthodoxy in America is going to depend greatly on establishing Orthodox Christian schools.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Another opportunity.
I guess the opportunity there would be is, does everyone in the church know that about the home school? Like, are we letting everybody know that's available to every family here too? So that'd be an opportunity for us to help out our people in our church too, as well as
and they're I will say, like I said, it's a Catholic homeschool. They're very open to us as Orthodox,
or even whatever. I know there's a couple other schools we go to people go to too. Right?
Yeah, and there's no reason we couldn't do it.
Exactly, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So again, kind of unfortunate to say that this is an opportunity, but it seems like Wenatchee's homeless population is ever growing. So, I mean, one of the basic tenets is taking care of the poor. I know we have limited resources, and we have started to do that with the Lighthouse Ministries, which is awesome.
Thanks for bringing that up. Other opportunities. We're a little bit after 12, so can we go another maybe 10, 15 minutes before we break for lunch? Okay.
Another opportunity is just the location on the corner of one of the major streets in Wenatchee, and how many people have driven by this place. It's not as deep, but
Still not reserved.
Good.
Are you jealous?
It is very practical because when we were down on Wenatchee Avenue, we would do our processions. Right? We would pick up a few stragglers, like cars, we'd join on to our procession. There you go. There's
Now they go by
opportunity.
If we talk about it, Brad, I would remember. I think Molly was saying this too, is that it's the expense and cost of living here is becoming more and more difficult for young families to really be. And then those young families are the ones that are the future of the church. So there's a lot of focus in this valley on affordable housing, which is very, very big challenge here.
That's definitely a threat. Would you say that there's actually a mental health crisis in addition to the loneliness piece? Or?
I would say that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Did you say?
For me,
yeah.
I work at the library and I see it all the time, every single day.
No,
I think
that's an opportunity.
That's an opportunity.
Yeah.
We work in community health. So the biggest growth we had here at clinic was behavioral health. It's just huge.
Yes.
We're centralized too. Wenatchee, the greater, Chelan County, and in all the communities, this is like one of the bigger areas out of everything. So we're like a hub.
So that'd be a strength.
Even Central Washington itself.
I'm gonna go back.
We also have the only Costco in Illinois.
All right, let's talk about threats. So threats are external factors that may negatively impact your parish. It could be social, cultural, like cost of living or unaffordable housing.
Building department.
It could be economic. Yeah. Technology, environmental, legal. So what are some external factors?
Building department.
Yeah, hasn't the city been
strict
City of Wenatchee. Actually, is it a threat or is it just more?
No, it costs us a lot more money to build than it does in other places.
Of course.
One of the threats that I've noticed is there is a vocal contingent that is highly anti-church of any denomination, not just us. So I think we will, as we grow, we're going to start seeing that more. But there's been some other Protestant churches that have been they've been growing and going through it, and just you see the same kind of reaction to that. And these people do have pull with the local media and pull with some of the local politics. So there is even though there are a lot of churches, there is an anti-religion undercurrent that is here too. Yeah. And I think it should be.
Is there a name for the group? They have a name? No.
What I can say is, because I'm a transplant. I came here in 2016. What I can tell is some old stuff happened in the 80s and 90s that have just become this mythology and stuck with people, and it just keeps opening up and shooting forth anytime there's any kind of unified religious push, and what I think is in a positive direction.
Okay, other threats? Yes.
Someone said it over there, the lack of knowledge, and I don't know if it was shouted out enough.
The lack of knowledge on how to navigate some of these systems that are kind of preventing us from the building piece and from some of those.
So that would be kind of a weakness, right? Because it's internal. Yeah, these are external.
I would say ignorance, historical ignorance.
Yes.
There's a very Western bias that I have found in Wenatchee. I don't know. It's just, I don't know how to describe it.
She's clicky.
we're too foreign. Wenatchee is clicky.
Wenatchee's cookie.
Used to be a lot worse, as I understand, but.
It's kind of maybe it's a little inbred too culturally. Like there's the good old boys club and different types of
People aren't open to something different or new, or in our case, old.
People resistant to something new.
I think part that comes with that is that coming from different areas and stuff like that, it's a small town vibe, as opposed to like from Seattle or some of those larger cities that you know don't have as much pull with some of these groups or some of the views because you've got small town.
Is Wenatchee Valley considered rural or? No.
It's gone on and off, the rural versus, but it's not rural anymore.
Okay.
Distressed.
Not from a legal perspective.
It's definitely hurt from all the people coming here because it's been such a good place to live. So you have tons of people coming out, like example, the West Coast, cities and stuff like that. That's definitely changed that dynamic a lot in this town.
And I think, the influx of people from, not from this region, the tendency is you have, the western side of Washington State is one of the most unchurched places in the nation. And when you have people coming, they're bringing that with them. There's definitely an anti-church sentiment.
So are you considered Western Washington?
No, we're central. Eastern. Yeah, but Western Washington is very.
Yeah, technically we're eastern. Anything on east of the Cascades from people from the west side of the state will just consider anything over here eastern. Except maybe Leavenworth.
It's also an opportunity because people from larger areas, metropolises or wherever, they're much more open to something like the Orthodox Church, as opposed to like homegrown people because they're very insular. And so I consider it an opportunity.
I mean, because it doesn't affect us though, like if they're just not here. You know what I mean? We just don't come, it doesn't affect us negatively.
I would say megachurch mentality is a threat.
Amen.
Prosperity gospels.
Easy access church, it's just not going to name churches, great cities.
Any other external threats?
And there's Father Michael, you mentioned at some point about a group of churches, local churches, defining who to be trusted, who not to be trusted, something like that.
When we first came here, I heard there was a group of pastors that would get together and talk about what churches are life-giving and what churches are not life-giving. We were categorized as not life-giving. But I mean, that's just part of sort of that ignorance and bias.
Lack of support from other Christian.
I think another big, I don't know if it's a threat for church necessarily, but it's just the beauty of our surroundings. A lot of people would rather bike, ski, canoe, boat, everything rather than come to church.
That's a threat.
Yes.
Another day activities.
That's a good point. I'd say one threat is obviously not to bring politics into it, but we've had kind of a sea change and it could be potentially overdone. And so there could be a reaction down the road that unfairly kind of targets religious people as like, so I think that's a little hubris.
The political climate might
get too positive in one way, even though it might not be the right way for governing everyone, and so there could be a reactionary back maybe 6-8 years from now.
Yeah.
Especially somewhere like this where it's already kind of got this underpinning of kind of anti-religious sentiment, so it could get real
I know
pointed.
in my work with people it's nothing that's local that we can control. But the fact that the one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church is often in war with one another right now is a thing. I'm hearing it from people that, pay attention. They're saying, what do you guys got to say? You're feeling each other.
So there's a perception of disunity or divisiveness.
That if what we had was true, then that wouldn't be happening. And so it's either not true or it's nominal and it's just another blade of the fair.
Yeah.
Iconoclasm. We have that. A lot of our churches still are kind of stuck on that. If I talk to any of my, because I know a lot of prominent Protestants. I mean, if I invite them and I have all of them, that's like the number one thing. So that perception of that still is kind of follows us around.
Also with the kind of anti-religion people, we have this beautiful cross up on the hill. I don't know if you saw it driving. It's lit up at night, and they want to destroy that. Everybody wants to take that down and get rid of that.
I think our own growth, our own church growth could be it for that. Like we talked about at the break, right? We don't manage that well.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
The reason for this.
Last one.
I don't necessarily know how to make this concise, but, and I know there's a growing term for all of you here initially, but because I'm right in front of lunch, but the proliferation of the internet and accessibility is now making it feasible for people to not have community. That we'll just watch something online, it's easier. We don't have to drive that far, or we don't have to get stuck at coffee hour, or what have you. Or we can do an app on our phone. All of that, I would not, and I have Orthodox on my phone, but I just think that really is a serious threat to community and to gathering together. And I think it's become too easy for people to not go to church and to worship in their own way, in their own home or in the coffee shop.
That's changing too, though. Like 10th state or so, like people have no friends or anything that are socially more social. And people are realizing, hey, I need to get away from social media, kind of like delete my app. So there's an opportunity there too.
Yeah. And I have a term for that. Actually, it's really, I know it sounds silly, but I actually call it the South Park effect. Is that I notice people, and forgive me, right? But people that watch that show, because even though I disagree with them on a lot of stuff, but they have a very good humor and they can really nail in on issues and kind of expose it for people. And I notice a lot of people that watch that show a lot will feel like it's almost a form of activism, but then they won't do anything else. Like they've watched it, they're up to date, they've got, they've broken it down, and then that's like, they're done with it. So that, I think that's what Chuck's saying is, that accessibility of the YouTube and internet, you're right, it's so accessible, but then they don't understand that the actual value is just showing up.
So the internet can be both an opportunity and a threat.
But I think the threat for us is for all of us. I mean, I'm saying that I'm carrying my drug in my pocket, and I think that's something that takes us away from reading and getting deeper into the meaning of our faith.
Yeah, I actually listen to less lectures from people other than my church fathers here, because you're right, it's like a million different things in Orthodoxy.
So I think reading is important, and to get these and reading the scripture and the Bible, and to make it, kind of a program of spiritual growth, for us, and then we can spread to other people.
Yeah.
I think I'm talking to myself. I'm addicted to this phone and the news and
any of the woke ideologies kind of come up against as a parish?
Use the internet for realizing that the food that they sell us sometimes is not good and healthy as it seems.
Yeah.
And well, how I found this church was through YouTube channels from the Orthodox.
Yeah.
So I knew this place existed. I didn't come until I heard about the chance in Orthodox. Sometimes authorities are soft because we don't want to face the threats of others.
Right.
That's just true.
Yeah, I offer one, and I will apologize in advance. This is a controversial one, but my parish in Walla Walla faces this also. Is people moving to Goldendale. Yeah. And I'm being serious, like it's an easy way out, and people have moved from our parish because it's too liberal here or it's too whatever. We just want to live where it's only Orthodox people. So we don't want to make Walla Walla better. We're just going to go to Goldendale where everyone's Orthodox, and it'll be a Orthodox utopia. And so, I mean, every time, we're a small parish also, and as are you, and the last time I went to the monastery, I saw like 20 people from Wenatchee who now live in Goldendale.
Yeah.
So, I know it's difficult to say that, but it is a threat to all the small parishes in eastern Washington because it's cheaper to live there, and there's a lot of Orthodox people there, and it's easier to be Orthodox in Goldendale, and there's a monastery, yeah.
Just have Jeff Bezos buy some property there. Then they'll start moving back.
So we could combine that with what Sundeacon said. Maybe we should just march on Goldendale.
I think it's more people moving away because economic, but also like the place where they live has become maybe too, it's I don't know.
Feels way more the culture than the politics.
I'll say the controversial thing. I think what it was, and this is why we're doing what we're doing, is I feel we were not organized enough in providing our healing community well enough to maintain people, because every person's in different phases of their worship and salvation, and I think that we did not provide deep enough roots to them for what they were needing for them to stay here. I don't think I would not say it's all economics. I think we need to do something here.
It's not all economics, but I had a conversation a couple months ago with a young man and his wife and their baby, and they didn't want to raise their kid in Eugene anymore. It was just too liberal. So they
to combat that, I think, is that we have to create that community within a community so they feel confidence that even though it might become more liberal, here they get what they need.
I'm just saying that even may not be enough.
I hope not.
No, it's easier for them to live their Orthodox life every day better.
Yeah.
At the monastery.
In Roseburg, we have families that live off the grid. All right, time for lunch.
Yeah.
It's about 12:22.
1:30.
Can we do one?
It's gonna be fast for maybe
1:15.
1:15.
Let's do the prayer here. And